Morning folks, Simon and Mabel again. It's middle of February and we're out in the sheep house. And one thing I've been looking at recently, as well as having seen the large roe deer in this wood up here and being really thrilled by them, and I've wanted for a while to try and track down some traces or viewing points for wild boar, European wild boar, which of course used to live in Britain, all over Britain, in forested areas for thousands and thousands of years until they were wiped out, hunted to extinction, we believe, and then farmed for the meat when it became more popular to have unusual meats. And the story goes that they escaped, or some were reintroduced back into the wild. So there are pockets of them now all over England and the UK. So I've been onto a number of sites recently, and there's one that seems to be tracing them. Sightings can be posted, but they're such an elusive creature and very nocturnal in the habits. So I've started to do a little bit more research into those. And they're the same breed. I don't think there's any way of really proving that the British wild boar was slightly genetically different to the European continental boar, the ones that have been reintroduced. But however, we can't do anything about that if we wipe them all out on our island. So they're back here now, and they play a really important part in forest management. And I suppose the only real way to track them down is to have nighttime camera traps and baited areas to bring them in. But it's a tricky one. But it's something I won't forget about, and I'll research over the years. And it's one of those things that I'll always have an interest for personally anyway. Any sort of animal or plant will take my interest, and always has done. But these large reintroduced, well, they're omnivorous, aren't they? They'll eat meat and they'll eat plants. So they're such a successful animal, and obviously being domesticated over thousands of years to the pig family all over the world. And they've been missing from our ecology in Britain for, like I say, hundreds of years. Over in the Peak District, over towards the Cheshire side, Macclesfield over that way, there's a village called Wild Clough, or Wild Boar Clough, which is suggestive that, you know, it was a popular area for them over there. There's various theories as to why it's got its name. I don't know if there's any others in the UK, I've not looked, but that's a local one to me. Locals would say Wilber or Wild Boar Clough. Clough being some sort of small valley area. So right, it's wet this week, it's on and off wet. My health's picked up dramatically. I'm still nowhere near right, but I'm feeling a lot more energetic. Energy levels have probably gone up by about 30%, so that's a huge bonus. And we were out for a nice Valentine's meal yesterday at our favourite pub down near the Lady Bower Inn in the Peak District and Bamford Way, called the Yorkshire Bridge Pub. Beautiful food, lovely environment, really old. I don't know if the actual building itself is that old, but it's old enough, and it's really attractive. And you know what you're getting, and the food is really nice, service is good. And I believe Jessica Annis Hill from Sheffield, her family have had some involvement with it over the years. So I heard, part of her family. Oh dear. So we're back onto the middle track in Sheep House. I've kept the camera running, and I was hoping we might get some glimpses of the deer, but on this camera phone, very, very unlikely that it'll pick them up. But Mabel's off and darting. So I'm going to take her into town today. I've got to drop the boy off in town at ice skating, and then we're going to take her in and find a local park and just do some city walking, and get her used to that environment. She spends a lot of time out here, doesn't go into the city much. So we'll do that, and I'll find a local park, but she will be on the lead, of course. half-term holidays this week. So we've seen the snowdrops coming through quite heavily because we've had just a little flush of warm weather this past week, and then it's turned colder again at night, and we've had some minus temperatures. But back in the garden, yeah, I've got the issue of our garden and the previous videos with the ducks and hens of water coming off the top and saturating the ground. And neighbours either side have dealt with that differently. Some have put deep drains in underneath and then re-turfed it. Very heavy job. It's a job that, you know, should last for a long time. The other side tried flattening theirs out, but it's not really worked, so we're going to have an issue now with ours. But I'll do those in another video when I start looking at that. I think probably in about 4 weeks' time, middle of March, we'll probably be gone 7 o'clock at night before it starts going dark. So we'll have that extra perhaps 2.5 hours after eating at night, eating an evening meal, to go out a couple of hours and just do some more garden works, all the tidying jobs. So I'll pick up on that. We're going to move the ducks and the hens off the garden now because they'll probably give them another few weeks.